English Rise Podcast.
Easy listening and speaking practice. Welcome to the English Rise Podcast, easy English listening and speaking practice to help you build fluency and confidence. I'm Emma.
And I'm Alex Chen. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Do you know a lot of English words but still feel slow when you speak? You pause, you think in your language, and then you try to translate.
Yeah, I see that all the time. That pause, that little lag, that's what we call mental translation. Fluent speakers don't translate, they think in English. So today, we're going to show you practical, fast techniques to stop translating and start speaking more naturally.
Exactly. By the way, if you're driving, walking, or on a break, this episode is made to be listened to and practiced with. We'll guide you step by step, short exercises, daily habits, and mindset shifts that actually work.
Let's start with the big picture. Why does the intermediate stage feel like a brick wall? You've got vocabulary, you understand grammar, but conversation still feels hard. What's happening is cognitive overload. Your brain is juggling 3 tasks at once: understanding, translating, and constructing. That slows everything down.
Right, and that's the anatomy of the plateau. You hit intermediate, and instead of thinking in English, your brain uses your native language as a shortcut. It's safe, but it's slow. And slow equals awkward pauses, losing the thread of conversation, and feeling less confident.
Let's break that down. When you translate, you first think of the idea in your native language, then search for the English equivalent, then build the sentence. Each step adds time and stress. And when you're stressed, your memory retrieval slows even more.
So, why do we translate? Habit, fear, and vocabulary gaps. Habit because that's how many of us learned, memorizing lists with direct translations. Fear because you worry about making mistakes, so your native language feels like a safety net. And gaps because sometimes you simply don't know a word or phrase in English.
Exactly. And the good news? All 3 of those causes are fixable. We'll walk through specific exercises that target each one. I'll start with immersion strategies, what we call the English-only environment.
Ooh, my favorite. This is hands-on. Label your surroundings, literally. Stick small notes on objects, refrigerator, mirror, headphones. But don't just write the word. Use a short phrase. Open the fridge. Check the mirror. Put on headphones.
Yes, because phrases force context. And narrate your actions out loud. When you're making coffee, say, "I'm pouring a water. Now I'm adding coffee. Smells great." It feels silly at first, but it trains your brain to form thoughts directly in English.
And do it consistently. 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night. By the way, try narrating when nothing important is at stake, while folding laundry, walking the dog, or cooking. Low-pressure situations are perfect for practicing English-to-English thinking.
Another immersion tactic: change device language to English. Switch your phone, social media, and computer settings. It's small friction, but it changes what you read and how you process language daily. You'll start thinking of settings and menus in English. Little wins add up.
Okay, next big thing, chunking and collocations. Stop memorizing single words in isolation. Instead, learn words in chunks. Make a decision. Take a break. On the other hand, these word pairs and phrases appear together in real speech.
Chunking reduces the need to construct sentences word by word. Your brain begins to retrieve ready-made phrases. Think of it like storing short audio clips in your head. When you need them, you hit play. That's faster than assembling every sentence from scratch.
Quick exercise. Pick 5 collocations this week related to your job or daily life. Repeat them out loud, make sentences, use them in short stories. For example, schedule a meeting, send an email, follow up later. Use those 5 every day.
Also, create a mini phrase bank, a note on your phone with 20-30 useful chunks and transitional phrases. To be honest, on the other hand, that makes sense. Could you clarify?
Now, onto a technique people get excited about, shadowing. I love this one. Shadowing means listening to native audio, a short clip, and immediately repeating it aloud, matching the rhythm, pronunciation, and intonation.
Shadowing builds muscle memory for pronunciation and phrasing. It's not just copying words, it's copying how English flows. Start with short clips, 20 to 40 seconds, from podcasts, interviews, or dialogues. Play, listen, then say it right after the speaker, shadowing their speed.
Do this for 5 to 10 minutes daily. Don't obsess over perfect accent. Focus on rhythm and speed. Over time, your brain learns to retrieve sounds and structures faster, which reduces the need to translate.
Here's a step-by-step shadowing drill. 1. Choose a 30-second clip you enjoy. 2. Listen once for meaning. 3. Play and immediately repeat sentence by sentence. 4. Then try to shadow the whole clip at natural speed. 5. Record yourself and compare. Small improvements every day.
And a pro tip? Pick clips related to your life. Short interviews on your field, a favorite TV scene, customer service dialogues. Relevance helps memory. Also, mimic emotional tone. If the speaker laughs, laugh. If they pause, pause. That helps your timing.
Let's talk about a fun, low-pressure game. Describe it differently. The circumlocution exercise. When you don't know a word, force yourself to describe it in English rather than translating. For example, if you don't know utensil, say, the tools you use to eat, like forks and spoons.
Yes, that practice trains flexibility. It builds fluency because you learn to keep the conversation moving without stopping to translate. And it reduces anxiety. You realize you can express the idea even without the exact word.
Try this with a friend or language partner. One person chooses a word in their head, and the other describes it without naming it. Or do it alone. Pick 5 new words and write 5 different English descriptions for each. That's a creativity and fluency workout.
Now we need to address the psychological part, embracing imperfection. So many learners use translation as a safety net because they're afraid of mistakes. But guess what? Native speakers make mistakes. Everyone revises mid-sentence. It's normal.
Absolutely. When you aim for perfection, you freeze. Perfectionism increases the likelihood of translating because you want to be precise. Instead, give yourself permission to be a messy speaker. Speak first, correct later. The flow is more important than perfect grammar.
Here's a practical mindset shift. Replace "I must say it perfectly" with "I must deliver my meaning clearly." When meaning comes first, speed follows, and listeners care more about being understood than hearing flawless grammar.
We also recommend a failure file. Keep a short list of funny or useful mistakes you made and the corrected version. Read it weekly. It turns errors into wins and reduces the fear around making them.
Okay, let's give listeners a concrete daily action plan that fits busy lives. This is a 30-minute daily routine that targets translation specifically. Ready?
Laddie.
Minute 0 to 5, warm up, narrate your surroundings out loud in English. Say what you're doing. Simple sentences. Minute 5-10, phrase practice. Review 5 collocations or phrases and make quick example sentences.
Minute 10-20, shadowing. Choose a 60-90 second clip, listen and shadow. Repeat it 2 or 3 times. Record 1 attempt. Minute 20-25, describe it differently. Pick 3 objects or concepts and describe them in different ways without using translations.
Minute 25-30. Cool down. Speak freely for 3 minutes on any topic. Record it. Don't stop to correct yourself. Then jot down one thing you felt proud of. That's it. 25 to 30 minutes every day for 2 weeks, and you'll notice reduced translation.
I want to add scaling options. If you only have 10 minutes, do the warm-up and one phrase drill. If you have an hour, extend shadowing and record longer free speaking sections. Consistency beats duration.
Let's do a mini role play now. Quick, live practice you can copy. Emma, I'll start. Scene, you're late to a team meeting and you have to apologize and give a quick reason.
Okay. Hi, team. Sorry I'm late. The traffic was worse than I expected. I'll catch up quickly. We need to approve the budget by Friday, and I reviewed the numbers this morning. I'll send the summary right after this call. Thanks for waiting.
Nice. Notice how you use short chunks. Sorry I'm late, catch up quickly, send the summary. Those are ready-made units. Now you try, Alex. Pretend you're asking for a deadline extension from your manager. Okay. Hi, Sarah. I wanted to ask if it's possible to extend the deadline by 2 days. I hit a small problem with the data, but I can finish it by Monday. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, and I'll make sure to keep you updated.
Perfect. Short, clear, chunked phrases. See how both of us avoided long, translated-sounding sentences? That's what you want in real conversation. Clarity, pace, and natural chunks.
We promised examples and case studies, so here's a quick story. One of my students, Mira, was stuck translating everything. She started 8-minute daily shadowing and a 5-minute phrase bank practice for a month. Her speaking speed increased noticeably, and she started thinking in English during meetings. Not overnight, but real progress in weeks.
I have a similar example. Tom, a software engineer, used to translate during stand-ups and became the person who always lagged. He did the describe it differently game with his partner and switched his workspace to English only. Within 6 weeks, his stand-up contributions were faster and more natural. Colleagues noticed.
Those stories show one more thing. Small, targeted practices change cognitive habits. The brain loves repetition. If you give it English to English practice, it'll make new shortcuts.
Let's be honest. Plateaus feel discouraging, but plateau means you've reached a new level of skill that needs different strategies. Move from vocabulary memorization to fluency practice, chunks, shadowing, immersion, and psychological work.
And don't forget feedback. If you can, practice with a friendly teacher or partner who corrects meaning-focused errors. Ask for pronunciation tips or collocation suggestions, but avoid overcorrection that breaks your flow.
Right. Good feedback corrects patterns, not every sentence. For example, if you always say make a photo instead of take a photo, note that pattern. But one-off mistakes? Let them go. Focus on frequent issues.
All right, time for some quick FAQs we get a lot. Question: how long until I stop translating completely? Short answer: it depends. But many learners notice meaningful change after 2 to 6 weeks of consistent daily practice.
Another common question: will I lose my ability to think in my native language? No, you're not replacing one language with another. You're building the ability to access English directly. It's like adding a parallel route in your brain.
People also ask, is shadowing weird? Not at all. It looks odd when you're doing it, but it's highly effective. Think of it as training your mouth, ears, and brain to move together.
One more. What if I can't find a language partner? Use apps, find short podcasts, or practice in front of a mirror. Join language exchange groups online. Even talking to yourself out loud, narrating works wonders.
Before we close, let's give a checklist you can screenshot or copy. 1. Create an English-only zone for 30 minutes daily. 2. Build a phrase bank of 20 chunks. 3. Shadow 5 to 10 minutes daily. 4. Play the Describe It Differently game. 5. Practice speaking imperfectly for 3 minutes daily. 6. Keep a failure file.
And a final mindset reminder. Progress isn't linear. Some days you'll feel fast, some days slow. Celebrate the moments you could convey an idea without translating. That's your evidence of change.
Okay, Emma, want to finish with a quick guided practice? 5 breaths, then I'll prompt a shadowing phrase you can repeat.
Yes, let's do it. Sit comfortably, take a deep breath in and out. 2 more like that. Now, listen and shadow this short sentence. I'll follow up with the details after lunch. Say it with me. Feel the rhythm.
I'll follow up with the details after lunch. Again, I'll follow up with the details after lunch. One more time. I'll follow up with the details after lunch. Good. Notice how the phrase flows as one unit. That's chunking in action.
Great job. Keep practicing phrases like that. They're small bricks that build fluent speech. We're proud of you for showing up today.
If you like this episode, come back and practice with us. Try the 25-minute routine for 2 weeks and tell us what changes. You can find more resources, phrase lists, and shadowing clip suggestions on our show notes.
Thank you for listening today. Remember, learning English takes time, and that's okay. Every small step you take is helping you improve. If you enjoyed this podcast, come back again and keep practicing with us.
We'll keep learning together. English Rise Podcast. Easy listening, better speaking, rise higher. See you in the next episode.
Bye for now. Keep speaking and don't translate. Imagine in English first.
Bye. And one last thing. If you try one exercise today, make it shadowing. You'll notice the difference. Promise.